Hello, welcome to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University, and welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and our local partner, Sprocket Innovation Paducah, and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. Welcome back for episode 174, where we are looking at the news of the last few weeks, see what it is that we can learn from, what it is that is going on in the world, unfortunate things that have happened to others that we can try to take something away from so that that bad thing doesn't happen to us. So let's just get into a few of the stories of that we're going to look at today, and actually we're going to go in a lot of different directions. The first one, and I'm going to link this article. It is on Bloomberg Law. It actually will require you to have a login to read the whole story. I actually don't have that login either, but it says one quote in here that I want to make sure that I share with you. First of all, JP Morgan Chase is facing a class action lawsuit that they did not provide sufficient procedures to prevent a data breach involving personally identifiable information. And the quote in here, this is one of the things I want you to take away from this. The data breach was a direct result of the defender's failure to implement adequate and reasonable cybersecurity procedures and protocols necessary to protect its clients' data, its clients' employees' PII from a foreseeable and preventable cyber attack. So what they're saying is that they didn't do the bare minimum necessary to keep their data safe. There are best practices, there are frameworks, there are regulatory requirements that you should follow. And what they're saying is that they didn't follow these things. And I don't know. I haven't analyzed any of the of what they allege or what JP Morgan says they were doing. But what this is saying is that we believe that you didn't do the minimum necessary to protect your business from a foreseeable and preventable thing, indicating that they should have. I bring this up to say, if you want to defend yourself in the event of something bad happening in your organization and data getting out, then you're going to need to have some defense. What is that defense? How are you trying to say that we are doing the more than the bare minimum, or that we are doing the necessary cybersecurity procedures and protocols to protect data from a foreseeable and preventable cyber attack? I'm here to tell you that you're not going to stop all cyber attacks. You're not. You don't have enough money. I don't know who all is going to hear this video, but none of us have enough money to stop every possible scenario. But as I always talk about, there are plenty of those things that are preventable that we can stop. And that's where we need to start. In several states, there's even safe harbor laws that say that if you follow industry frameworks, best practices, that you're going to be protected from these types of lawsuits. Anyway, it's a really important one, and I want to make sure that we touched on that. I probably touched on that too long, but it's important to me. Another one. It cost how much? The financial pitfalls of cyber attacks on small business. A new survey came out. Discovered that nearly 25% of small, medium businesses have either suffered a cyber attack or didn't even realize they had suffered one in the past 12 months. 61% of those did not have a dedicated cybersecurity expert. 47, meaning half, did not have an incident response plan. And 27, nearly 3 in 10, didn't have cyber insurance coverage. I would say that a minimum that your organization needs to consider are all three of those. You need to have somebody that knows what they're doing to try to begin this. Now, if you're a small business, that's hard. So maybe it's a part-time person. Maybe that's a trusted third-party vendor that you're working with, an MSSP or something like that. But you need an incident response plan. If you're going to follow any of those industry frameworks I just talked about, you're going to need that. And then insurance. You're going to have insurance. You're going to have to follow the rules that the insurance says for you to follow, but you're going to need insurance. And then finally, on the big guys, on the larger enterprises, in 2023, data breaches resulted in a 7.5% dip in their stock price. So you think about some of these large companies and what a 7.5% decrease would mean financially. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of concern here. So definitely be worried about that. Um, Next, shifting gears, data breaches. How does a data breach affect you and why? I'm going to link this article. I'm going to highlight this article, but I'm not going to go into detail about it. It's a great read, but what it what the issue is that it's trying to get at is that you and I hear about data breaches so much that we've almost become immune to it. That we're hearing it so much that, oh, it's just another data breach. Oh well. Um, I'll kind of ignore it. I'll just go on. Oh, I mean that stinks for them, but it doesn't matter to me. Well, it may matter to you. And if it's a website, if it's a resource that you're using, it could matter to you. And the question becomes, what's the worst that could happen to you? And and well, I mean, we can make up hypotheticals about what's worse, but what is likely is that you're going to run the risk of having your identity stolen. It happens on nearly every data breach. Somebody or several or thousands of people in a data breach, depending on how large it is, get their identity stolen. Um, I hear people during COVID, how many people got a new credit card set up in their name, but somebody else was using it, or unemployment insurance, or all these different things. They happen because of data breaches. They happen because they're able to get enough information about the victims that they can go in and act like they're them. Take a look at this. I know that it feels like it's happening every day because it is, but take a look at these things. Try to think through what it means to you. Do I need credit monitoring? Yes. Do I need to freeze my credit? Yeah, maybe. If you're not purchasing anything right now, that's something to consider. There's all these things that you can think about and should think about, but data breaches still matter and they're still affecting you and me. Interesting thing that I thought here, and I'm just going to briefly touch on this. Dating apps are kissing and telling all sorts of sensitive personal information. You want to pop up a lot. You want to add a lot of information to your dating profile if you use online dating apps, which a lot of people do now. I am not one of those, but a lot of people are. But what is important to know is that you're putting a lot of information on there so that you can describe yourself so that you get matched with somebody. Well, all of that information is private information about you. Now, maybe it's not your license number or your social security number or your passwords, although it probably is your password. But there's a lot of information that could be used by bad guys to steal your identity. There's a lot of private information on there. How is that being protected? You really need to be careful about it because there's a lot of sensitive personal information that is being shared on there. All right. So the next couple of things. I've been doing research on this for several years, but GPS attacks are just a matter of time. Thousands of planes and ships are facing GPS jamming and spoofing. If you ever watched, I forget which James Bond movie it was when Pierce Bronson was Bond, but they thought they were in one place in their ship, and the ship was actually a mile on the other side of the border with China or Russia or one of the countries that Britain was not friendly with at the time. Um, that can happen, and that potential impact is starting to be a larger and larger concern. But there is certainly going to be a dangerous rise of GPS attacks. Um, in Kansas City, systems that provide weather traffic data were taken down by cyber attack. What that matters, why that matters is that, well, I'll use me for an example. Every time I go out, before I leave, I look at the traffic. I look at the weather. I try to plan my route based on where there's not traffic jams or wrecks or whatever it might be. And if those systems are down, then that's a problem. Um, GPS, traffic and weather, things that we depend on are going down. And then the last thing I saw, and uh, this is comes from the Hill. This is more political commentary, opinion piece. But humanity is one convincing deep fake away from global catastrophe. I was told a story, a podcast told a story that I heard where Elon Musk was being sued for something that he said um, several years ago. And his defense in court was that it wasn't me, it was a deep fake. Well, it was him. There were plenty of witnesses. But the point of that to me is that what can we believe? We have so much trust in whatever app, in whatever technology, in whatever thing that we're using. There's so many things that we need to be worried about. Uh, and and I will say, and I'll leave with this, and I am way over on time, and I apologize for that. But we've got to be careful about what we trust. We should have backup plans on the things we rely on, but we also need to be careful about what we trust, whether it's a video on Facebook, whether that's a news article on even on the news. We just need to be careful about what we trust. Anyway, I appreciate your time today. I know we went way long. I appreciate you hanging on. I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining. Have a good day. Bye.